This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City update for May 16th, 12 noon. Now, starting on June 1st, these will be called the Tropical Update videos, and these will be done once every couple of days when things are slow. And then when things get active, we'll do these updates once a day and sometimes twice daily, depending on how severe the situation is. And the archive subscribers to Hurricane City will get these mailed to their mailbox with the link showing that the video has been updated. So you'll know immediately as soon as the new videos are released. I put a lot of interesting stuff in these tropical update videos, such as model trends. We use the HurTrack program to give you the latest analysis on what the storm is doing and how it's behaving and where it's going. And we'll provide the most in-depth tropical update videos on the internet, bar none, starting June 1st. So check those out whenever you get a chance. And they are at YouTube. We have our social network site set up over here on the right-hand side of Hurricane City next to the track and chart. We have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Ustream. Now, these were just set up this off-season, so we have not really gotten that many subscribers as of yet. But during the hurricane season, these are going to really come in handy for the latest information from Hurricane City. Now, our current feature is Grand Isle, Louisiana, to the left of the tracking chart. And what we do is feature the current threatened city by a named storm or hurricane during the hurricane season. But right now, we have a big oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And the way to get the localized information is to go to this page and get all the local newspapers and media from Grand Isle, Louisiana and surrounding areas to get an idea of how much oil is coming on shore. It's kind of hard to find that out when you watch CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, because they're talking about a lot of different stuff, and you can really narrow it down by going to this page, Grand Isle, Louisiana. But the main reason for this update video is Jim's predictions for the week. You can see the logo here to the right of the hurricane tracking chart, and that takes you to my city and island picks, which I do every June 1st at 8 p.m. Now, this year, the picks will be reserved for the end of the show. Normally, I kick off the hurricane season kickoff show right out of the gates, explaining why my cities and islands are getting hit and what the reasons are and the calculations and the whole nine yards. And honestly, I don't think people have enough patience to listen to all the details of why I come up with these city picks and how I come up with them. So we're going to save it for the end of the show. And this year we're going to open the phone lines up early and let people just call in and give their opinion on the upcoming hurricane season. We may have a guest or two on the show that is still to be announced. And we're going to have Bill Phillips from Virginia Beach is going to be down to be on the hurricane season kickoff show. And Derek Sibley is coming up from Hollywood. But Bill has an interesting little bit of research he's been doing on the politics of hurricanes. And going back to 1900, who's been affected more by hurricanes, Republicans, Democrats, and how it's been handled, the whole nine yards. So we'll get into that a little bit, and my city picks, and of course taking your phone calls. Now, my city and island picks are very controversial. There's people on the internet that refuse to acknowledge the fact that return rates mean anything. But the fact of the matter is they do mean something, and going back to 2003, I've nailed just about every hurricane season with the exception of last hurricane season, which was very slow. Many of my cities and islands do get affected, and it's based on three criteria. Number one, how many named storms are in the Atlantic Basin dictates who generally gets affected. During active seasons, the Yucatan gets hit a lot, the northern Gulf Coast, and the eastern mid-Atlantic seaboard get hit a lot during active seasons. The second criteria is whether a city is due or overdue for a named storm coming within 60 miles. And that's going back over almost 150 years, so there's a lot of data to work with there and a lot of trends to work with, such as, does an area get hit once every 4 years, once every 3 years? Does the area have a tendency to get hit 2 years in a row? All that means something. For example, if you were to monitor how many traffic accidents happen at a particular intersection, the way the cities and counties operate is they go back in history and they look up trends, and they decide how to dictate the traffic flow based on the amount of accidents that have happened in the past. Well, that's similar to what we're doing with Hurricane City picks, is figuring out what islands get hit with certain trends and certain flows. And there's some environmental factors that go into these picks as well, such as the dry May theory for South Florida. We also have a trend of that Fred from Long Island pointed out, is that generally Long Island tends to get hit by hurricanes or named storms after the Mexican coastline gets hit within 5 years. So there's a lot of trends and things that go into this. It's not just return rates, but the return rates are very accurate. Out of the 155 cities at Hurricane City, only about 5% are overdue for a named storm. And that shows you how accurate the list is. Now, if we go back to my picks here, back in 2003, all of my top 5 cities were affected by named storms during that year. In 2004, 4 out of 5 were affected. In 2005, all of my cities were affected, and I had a very heavy leaning towards Mississippi coast, and I even have a video at Hurricane City, several videos showing me picking Mississippi and saying that we were going to have a high death toll, especially in New Orleans. And I picked that in 2005, and sure enough, Hurricane Katrina went in there and took out a lot of property and a lot of fatalities. 2006, there was a few that I picked the tropical storms to hit, and several of them did. 2007, there were 2 majors. Martinique and Belize were hit by Dean. I predicted that would happen. 2008, Omar. I predicted Vero Beach to Lake Worth would be affected, and Faye affected them. And Morgan City, Louisiana is my ticking time bomb, and they were affected by Gustav. So check back. If you missed the show on June 1st, the page here will have the latest cities and islands that I'm picking, and they will be listed right here. And we'll see how I do throughout the hurricane season, and I'll highlight them in yellow as each area is affected. So this does mean something. In fact, George Sambatero from the HurTrack program was actually contemplating using the Hurricane City return rates in the HurTrack program itself, and that's a well-respected person in the hurricane business that actually thinks there's some credibility to the method of return rates on hurricane and tropical storm landfalls in the Atlantic Basin, so it needs to be paid attention to. And I will release these on June 1st, so don't miss that. If you're an archive subscriber, you can watch the whole show without watching it live. It'll be recorded, and you'll be able to access it with your username and password. Well, that's about it for now. Again, we will be here June 1st, 8 p.m. In the meantime, there will be a couple of more updates between now and then, and more previews on what I think about the upcoming Atlantic hurricane season. That's about it for now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.